All right, folks, we are live. So, let me just turn on some more lights here. Yeah, what's up? I'm glad you guys can be here today. We got a few things we're gonna be doing today. As the stream title says, we're gonna be doing mold making part 2. Hey, Johnny 12 times on Twitch just started following me, but the first thing you'll be able to catch. Cool, man. Hope you like it. We got quite a few people watching right now. We got the man himself on YouTube, Ski with Pete, over there on YouTube. So the folk of you who don't know, Ski with Pete, he is the owner of OneUpKeyboards.com, and actually kind of one of the reasons why I really got into mechanical keyboards the way I did, and the reason why I stream in a way, because I started watching his streams, and that's how I got interested in streaming, and here I am today. What am I looking at here? What are you guys looking at? What is this thing? You might be asking yourself, what is this thing that we're looking at? Well, this is a custom keyboard that I made for my friend Carly Toboggan, and it is part of a giveaway. This is a K-type keyboard, which is a fully customizable keyboard made by Input Club. And it features a hand-painted top plate here. I painted it myself. And it is based on the game Fortnite, which you may have heard of, some of you. It's a pretty popular game. And so she is a Fortnite streamer. And so I painted this keyboard for her as a giveaway that she is running. I'm going to go ahead and link that giveaway here in the comments in just about a second here. I just need to get that link. All right, so I recommend checking her out, checking out her channel and stuff, and watching her on Mixer. She's really cool, super fun to watch, and that's why I kind of partnered with her. As I don't even play Fortnite, and I love watching her play because she's really fun. And her stream is a lot of fun to hang out in. So that's what we're looking at. Let's get a closer look at that, though. If you guys want to take a look here, I'll bring this a little closer. So, yeah, we got it's like a blue paint. It has some texture to it, which is kind of hard to pick up on this keyboard, but the main thing is that it's got this fork knife logo there. Pete says, thanks for the leak, but you notice no super chat enabled. And Pete, the reason why there is no super chat enabled is you can't enable super chat until you get to 1,000 viewers, or 1,000 subs. So I'm not quite there yet. I'm getting close. I'm at 780, I think, right now. So if you guys want to go ahead, if you're not already subscribed, you should, because part of the giveaway, you get two entries into the giveaway for signing up on my stream. So if you're not subbed on YouTube, please do so. Just follow the link that I posted, and you guys can get a chance to win this keyboard, which I can tell you right now, this keyboard is great. The camera does not do it justice. It is Kyle H Speed Gold switches. These are like a clicky switch, but this board especially, this board's cool because it is hot swappable. So if you don't like the switches, you can pretty much replace them with any switch you want. I've tested Kyle H, several of the Kyle H switches. Those all work fine. I put in some Zelios in one of these boards, and it works totally fine. So really, it's kind of up to you. It is also a full RGB keyboard, which I would show you, but I have to turn off all the lights to kind of get that viewable. So really, I recommend if you want to see the RGB, check out those links that I posted. You'll be able to see the imager. Actually, I can go ahead and show you, or I'll go ahead and post the imager link as well, so you can check that out, because the board is fantastic, and really, the pictures don't really do it justice. Even with the RGB, it doesn't really do it justice. So check that out, you guys. This is a really cool giveaway. Like I said, Carly Toboggan on Mixer, she's the one actually kind of running it. I just have the keyboard because I haven't mailed it to her yet. So that's going to go out to her very soon. But then, that's not all. That is not all. I am also running a giveaway that will be going up soon. I'm just waiting for some parts, and so Pete from One Up Keyboards is donating a case for this particular giveaway, and then once I get that, then I'll start it up. But Pete, I know you're on the channel. Don't worry, I'm not trying to rush you. I actually can't even start the giveaway until end of July anyway because of work obligations. I have to be out of town and yada, yada, yada. But what we're giving away is a Zeal 60 RGB per key LED RGB keyboard. And that is this beauty right here. It is a fantastically designed PCB. And you know it's going to be a great board for anyone to build. It is not hot swap though, so you will have to solder this one. But we're sending this as a kit, so you can put that together. And then it's not coming with switches though, or keycaps. So if you want switches and keycaps, you're going to have to buy them separately. And I do recommend, and I will suggest, getting your switches and keycaps from oneupkeyboards.com. because that is a great place to get them, and you have a lot of selection to go with this particular board. So keep your eye on my channel for that, because that's going to be really cool. And this is actually, it's a really good board. A lot of people really like it. And if you're into RGB and a 60% board, this could be your thing. So as usual, my cat is howling at the door, wanting to come in, and he is being incessant. I'm not sure if you guys can hear him, but he absolutely loves coming in here. And he's not allowed. But what are we doing today? We are finishing up the second part of this mold. So if you guys have seen the last mold, what we're doing is we are making a mass production mold of the tentacle keycap that I have produced, and that is this one right here. Let's get that close-up going. Let's get that thing going here. Action cam. I really wish I say it every time, but I wish there was a faster way to do this on OBS, because I like to be able to change the focus on the fly without having to open up the settings and stuff that much. But this is the tentacle keycap that I designed. It is a sculpted, here I'll show you what the original, this is the master. So that is this kind of a tentacle shaped keycap, and we're making a mass production mold, and that's what this is right here. That's what I'm working on. So the last stream, what I had done was I went through and put all the keycaps on the mold itself, and then I poured the silicone and stuff the other night. So pulled that out, and then what you have to do is you have to attach these little like sprues. So this is basically like they're Q-tips. Actually, let me get one of those. So it's just a Q-tip that I've cut the ends off of, basically. That's really all it is. So I took that Q-tip, cut the ends of it off, and used that to, and then cut it in half, and then I used some super glue and glued that to the bottom of these keycaps here, which is what you're seeing. And what that does is when we go to actually produce these, because we'll take all these things out, and then we'll have the negative, and we'll have the top part of the mold, which, let me show you what that looks like. I know those of you who watch my channel have seen me do this a million times, but for those of you who are new, this is what a mold box eventually ends up looking like. And let me change another setting on this, because the action cam settings seem to change every time I boot this up. Okay. I like a static exposure. I hate when it changes exposures all the time. So, that's what it looks like. You got a top part and a bottom part. Just like that. Okay, so what we do is we're making the top part for this other mold right now. And when it comes out, the sprues will be a place where we inject the resin into the actual void where the keycap gets formed. So that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to put this. We're making the second half so that we can make, so we can start doing that. But I do a lot of mold making, and this was the last of the silicone that I had available to me at the time. So now I had to buy some more. Now I gotta unbox the silicone. Now because I do so much mold making, it's just not feasible for me to get like smaller sizes of containers of silicone. So I buy it in gallons, basically, gallons at a time. And I haven't shown it on stream, but I actually so this is my shelving unit back here. You can kind of see. I actually just built this second one, this one right here. I just built this one today because I was running out of room because I have so many supplies and stuff. So the type of silicone I'm using, this is Smooth On. Smooth On is a really awesome, reputable company. Freaking love them. They're a high quality product, and they're really knowledgeable too. So usually you can email them and tell them what you're trying to do, and they will tell you what product you should probably go with. So this is what I buy. This is Mold Star 30. Here we go. And I buy it in these big gallon tubs. So this is Mold Star 30, Part A and Part B. And so the reason why I use Mold Star is, there's several reasons, but two really big ones. It's a platinum cure, it says, or platinum silicone. So platinum silicone is a little bit more stable. It lasts longer. It has a much higher hardness than tin cure, and so the actual material stays stable longer and it lasts longer in general. Plus, it's stronger overall. Electro Penguin on Mixer. Hey, what's going on, man? Glad you joined the stream. So it's a two-part silicone, Part A, Part B. And what's really great about this, another thing that's really awesome about it, besides it being a platinum silicone, is that it is 1-to-1 ratios, and is both 1-to-1 ratio with weight and with volume. So if you're doing a very large silicone mold and you've got an accurate scale, you don't have to measure it in volume. You can measure it in weight, which is pretty easy to do, or you can measure it in volume. And I have some volumetric things that I use to do that. So that's what we're gonna. That's why I use this. Is it's very simple to use. There are other silicones out there that are a two-part that do, like, sometimes they're like 1-to-100. So you have like a big bottle of the actual like goopy silicone stuff, and then like a tiny bottle, and you just need like 3 drops of this stuff to activate the entire thing. And the reason why I don't use those as much is because it's much harder to control. You have to be very, very accurate in how you measure everything. And it tells you literally to use drops, just drops of the activator. And it's not bad, but it's just hard to get used to, I guess. It would be a lot more trial and error. Whereas this, I know it works, and so I might as well. It is expensive, though. Platinum Cure silicone, I believe this gallon thing was $130 before shipping. So it was like $150 with shipping. So it is a little expensive, but it's really worth it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open these up. I got to stir them to make sure that the components haven't settled, because they sit in the shelf, and then like sometimes there'll be a little bit of a component that comes down here and it kind of cakes up. So we're going to stir those, then we're going to measure them out, and then we're going to mix them, degas them in the vacuum chamber, and then we're going to pour them over our molds. So stage first, glasses on. We got to break them open. So just like a paint bucket, they've got these little tabs. You just got to cut the tabs. You just cut them on each side. Yeah. So what are y'all up to? Oh, so actually, if you've been watching some of my other streams, I actually did I was doing a hand wire keyboard recently. I'm still planning on finishing that hand wire. However, the folks on the stream who come to watch me on a regular basis convinced me to go with my original plan, which was to build a custom case for it that's kind of interesting. It's a little different than what I normally do. So they convinced me to do that. So that's why I haven't finished that hand wire yet, is I have to get someone to cut that for me. What is this Despacito? What is that? Is that like... What is Despacito? Everybody keeps saying it. I don't know what it is. Is it some kind of inside joke? But yeah, I want to finish that hand wire. Probably going to be able to finish it sometime before the Seattle meetup. The Seattle meetup is the end of July, and I want to be able to have that done before I go to the Seattle meetup. But if it's not a huge deal. Mange says Atari WTF. What? Is there something I don't know? Well, I mean, is it like a game or something? Is it like, because people kept saying that like constantly during the E3 thing. So I don't know if it's just a... I don't know if it's just some kind of weird meme. Oh, is it a song? Looks like, apparently it's a song. I don't know. I don't follow memes, guys. I'm not a memer. I'm not a memer, I'm a streamer. Okay, so now we've got this, we got the tabs cut. So what I like to do is I like to use a special tool. You can get these at pretty much any hardware store. And it's this thing right here. And this will help you pry open these kinds of buckets. They're really, really useful. Yeah, guys, I'm not really into pop culture in a lot of ways, so like stuff like popular pop songs, it's gonna go way over my head. I'm always way behind on those. So now, this is gonna make a mess. So we're gonna do this on the floor because I do not want to get silicone all over my desk. By the way, I built this desk. It is my baby. I love it. This whole top here, this is just like MDF fiberboard basically, and all I can do is, or what I can do is if I mess it up or anything, I can just replace the top of it pretty easily. But I'd prefer to not replace it. The thing with that song is it is trash. Why does everybody keep saying it? Are they saying that I'm trash? I don't get it. I don't get it, guys. All right. Okay, we're gonna do... Well, that's kind of a weird angle, but just wanted to show you what I'm using. So you gotta have two different stirs. You gotta have two different stirs because of the fact that you don't want to stir with one and stir with the other. It's gonna ruin it. And you're also gonna want gloves. The most watched vid on YouTube? Wow. All right. So this is when you first open these. All you have to do is you just have to come in here and you just want to make sure that you want to make sure that it's well distributed. Because this is a homogeneous stuff. It is a very homogeneous substance. So you don't have to worry about mixing it to kind of stir it up, you know, to make sure that its, you know, components are all together. You just want to make sure that there's nothing settled down at the bottom. And this one This one's fine. There's nothing missing from it, or nothing at the bottom that's a concern. So this one is totally fine. Just clean this off. And I go through these paint stirring sticks like crazy because, you know, the nature of what I'm doing here, just like you saw. You can't really use them again after you've used one. They're very hard to clean because they're wood. I can probably get plastic ones. I've seen plastic ones, but these wooden ones from the Home Depot are they're free. So I just take some every time I go in there. We are going to do one other thing though, since we're already here on the floor. We are going to fill my usual container that I use with that. I just want to find a plate. Okay. So this is what I usually use to store it on the shelf because I don't like messing with the bucket all the time. So I just fill this up. Problem is, it always makes a mess. There's pretty much no way to avoid that. So, hence why I do it on the floor. I can clean the floor very easily. Another thing I do is I keep paper towels right up here. As I go through, I don't know, about a roll of paper towels every week. Just from doing resin casting and silicone molding. I try to reduce the amount that I use as much as possible, but always going to end up having to use some, and I don't like to waste them, but they are a necessity. Okay, so that's one half. Now we got to clean up the other half. Stir up, I should say. You can't really reuse these paint stirrers, but what I like to do is I just kind of clean them off a little bit, just like this. And then when I go to like scrape one of these things out, I can just use this stick, and it's kind of been dyed blue. You can see a little bit. It gets kind of blue on it, so I know this is the one to use for the blue side. Okay. Put the lid back on it here. Put that up on the shelf. So like I was saying earlier, I built this shelf today. One of the reasons why I got this is because I wanted to separate the materials into two shelves. I want to have like the messy materials on one shelf and the keyboard stuff that's not messy at all on the other one, so they don't not occupying the same space. Because if anything were to happen and I spill something on that shelf and it got all over my keyboards, I would never forgive myself. So, separate the two, keep them clean. Okay, now we stir this guy up. Once we actually get to the part where we mix it, this whole thing is going to go pretty quickly. So this part of the stream is going to be pretty short. Then I might just end up doing some. I think I'm going to end up doing some switch lubing, maybe. Just switch lubing takes so long to decide if I want to dedicate that much time to it. It's just a very lengthy process. I know Mange HD on YouTube, I know he hears switch lubing and he immediately gets excited, like telling a dog that they're going for a walk. Okay, so this one has a little bit of solids on it. You see like how there's that kind of thicker part at the end of here? That's some solids. So what we gotta do is just kind of go in there and scrape a little bit. It's kind of like if you've ever used natural peanut butter. It's very similar. You gotta like get in there and kind of scrape it up. And once that gets, it just kind of mixes back in. It's funny is the white always seems to have that solid down at the bottom. I don't know what it is about the white part. What is this, part B? Part A? Yeah, for some reason part A always has that solids down, those solids down at the bottom. I don't know why. But you just gotta mix it up a little bit. It doesn't hurt anything. Even though this stuff is so viscous, these paint stirrers have a hard time. I'm always worried I'm going to break it. Yeah, that's some thick stuff. But once you pull it from the bottom, stir it in, it dissolves pretty quickly. Mixes right back in. Woo, I'm making a mess. There we go. And that is all mixed, I think. Yeah. Just gonna clean off a little bit of that solid stuff. I can't feel any more at the bottom, so I think we're good. Okay. Now in the smaller buckets, you can get the smaller, I believe, pint-sized ones. I think the pint-sized ones are I think they're $35 each, $37 maybe. Obviously far cheaper than this one, but the pint-sized ones are much easier to stir. So you don't have to deal with as much like I did just now. So we got 14 viewers today. That's pretty nice. That's exciting. Glad you guys are here. It's kind of a lazy Sunday. Today is Canada Day. So if any of you guys are Canadian, which I know Ski with Pete on YouTube, I know he is Canadian. I wish you a happy Canada Day. You know, Wednesday is American 4th of July holiday, which I keep forgetting about. And what's funny is, you know, I was looking at my work calendar because I'm very busy at work these days. I have a pretty demanding full-time job as a programmer and a project manager for a software development firm. And I was looking at my calendars trying to find things that I had to do and what dates. And I kept looking at the 4th of July and kept going, oh, so-and-so is not going to be at work and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, wait a second, that's a national holiday. I'm not going to be at work. I don't have to come in. It was very weird. Looks like we got a little bit of this stuff on the floor here. Just want to clean that up real quick. And then we are good. We can start mixing. Okay. This way. And there we go. Still finding more of this stuff on the floor. clean all that up. Not that it really matters. I need to clean this floor really bad anyway. It needs, honestly, I should be thinking about surfacing it. Thinking about surfacing it so I can get like a finished concrete surface or something on it, so it's easier to clean. Okay, there we go. It is stirred up. Okay, now the next thing we have to do, we got our 2 parts in the containers here. We got about a quart of each right now. So now we have to kind of estimate how much of this do we need to put in, how much we're going to actually need to make our 2-part stuff. Now, we're not only doing this one today, we're doing another thing today. I'm making another mold, and that's this one right here. That's this mold. I'm not going to show you what's in this mold because it is a surprise for a few people. This is an item that I've been wanting to make. It was actually one of the first things I ever made a silicone mold of, and it failed miserably. I didn't know what I was doing, and it was terrible. So I made another mold of it. I'm hoping now with the knowledge that I've got that this is going to be a good thing. I might sell this, but this is specific to the Seattle meetup that I'm bringing it for, plus a couple other things. I might sell these. I'm not sure. I'm not going to be mass producing these. These are very specific to only a few people, so I'm probably not going to be mass producing them. But I need enough silicone to fill this and this. So what we're going to do is there's a couple things you can do to measure your overall volume that you need to place in there. Yeah, JT Hall, it's something that's very specific to the Seattle meetup because of the fact that I want to bring it there. I'm definitely going to show it. I'll show it as soon as it's done, but I don't want to like show it before it's done because I don't know. It's kind of special to me. It has to do with one of the first mechanical keyboards I ever bought, so it's very, very special here for me. Well, Jay Hall, you're stuck on the East Coast, but if when I start showing it off, if you're interested in it, you might just get one. It's something that I'm doing as kind of a labor of love. And like I said, I'm probably not going to sell them, or if I do, I'll sell them for really cheap, just enough to cover the materials and shipping or whatever, because it's something special to me and something special to the community of people that use the keyboards that I really like. So we'll get to that in a couple weeks. Maybe not even a couple weeks. Maybe in a week. I'll show everybody what I made. I just want to get it like I kind of want to make it first and make sure it looks good because it very well could look like crap. Okay, now this is a second part of this mold, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pouring that silicone into here. But one thing about silicone that you have to be aware of is that this is cured silicone, this is uncured silicone. Uncured silicone will stick to cured silicone as if that it was never cured at all. So if I were to pour this silicone in here, it's immediately going to chemically bond to it, and it would not work. You would not be able to pull these apart. I have to cut it open. So what you use is a release agent, which is what's in this bottle right here. I just got one of these like little kind of like a perfume bottle from a candle making shop. And what's in it is this stuff right here. Now this is sold by the same company that sells the silicone that I use. This is Man Release, Ease Release 205. I buy it in these big cans because it's expensive to ship it. You can buy it in an aerosol, but I buy it in a can and I just put it in here and then I just hand spray it. But this is really important. You have to have this. And it's really useful for even when you're making resin. You can spray it on one half of the resin mold. It makes the keys come out easier. But we're just going to use it to make sure that we don't end up screwing up our mold. I have done that once, and I was so mad at myself. I can't even tell you. So mad at myself. So I'm just going to spray this down here into the trash can so I don't make a mess. But you want to give it a good spraying. You want to make sure you get all around the edges. You're going to want to get all these edges here on the inside. You want to make sure you get enough into each one of these like little nooks and crannies because that silicone will stick to it. So you got to be very careful about that. So just a healthy amount. I usually try to spray from multiple angles. It's not going to hurt anything on the resin if it gets into the resin, so don't worry about that. You just don't want to put so much that it's like literally dripping everywhere. Because it dries pretty quickly. I think it's suspended in some kind of alcohol or something like that. So it dries pretty quickly. But just want to give it a good spraying. I think that's pretty good. It's looking like I might have missed one spot. It's kind of hard to tell. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray that spot again. Just going to spray it real quick. There. I just made sure to get the corners again real good because a lot of times the corners are a problem. Okay. For those of you who might be wondering, I'm using, these are nitrile gloves. I bought these at Amazon for like, I think this is like $7 for a box of these gloves. I use them all the time. I buy them in these big boxes because I'm always changing them out. The thing is with these chemicals, a lot of these substances, they're not going to hurt you. For the most part, they're non-toxic, but they are messy and you have to wash your hands a bunch. So it's easier to just change out gloves anytime you get anything on it. So for this mold, I'm not going to spray this with ease release because this is a first time pour, so it doesn't need, there's no silicone in here already, so it doesn't really need it. Now, the fun part. Now is when we start mixing. Now I use these graduated buckets that I get from the hardware store. And they have a very good marking on the inside that tells you how much you've poured in. So you don't have to guess. And it's got them measured at 1:1 and like 3:1, all that kind of stuff. So depending on what you're mixing, very, very easy to get the ratios right. We're doing 1:1. So we look at on this here, you got, yeah, this first box here, this is your 1:1, right? Right up here, it says 1:1. So that's your 1:1. We're probably gonna need, I think we're gonna go to 3. I think it's probably safe, volume-wise. No, you know what, just to be safe, absolutely safe, we're gonna go to the 4 mark. So we're gonna bring it to the 4 mark here first, and then we'll fill it with the other half and bring it to the 4 mark up there. All right, so that's our 4:4, or 1:1. And that should be enough for both of these molds. Gosh, it always bothers me because I never quite, sometimes I doubt it. It's always better to have more made than you need. So we're actually going to go with 24 ounces total. So we're going to bring it up to this line. Now, we could use this, but since I know that this is 1:1, we're going to take it to the 12 ounce mark right here, and then we're going to pour the other half and bring it to the 24 ounce mark up here. Okay? So let's do that. Because I don't want to run out and then end up being screwed and not having enough to cover my second mold. So guys, I'm just looking at it. We have 13 viewers right now, which is awesome. Thanks you guys for coming in on your day and enjoying yourself. And my friend just texted me. He's in here somewhere watching. He's talking about man release because he loves man release. He's all about it. He's all about that man release. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and post that giveaway again real quick. For those of you who are just joining, some of you actually may have come from this giveaway. That is a giveaway for the keyboard that I hand painted for my friend Carly Toboggan. Okay. Now, one thing that's important, let's see, we got let's see, Supermanda Hippie on Mixer says he works at a dispensary and I'm making his day. Good, I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself. Trying to keep it a little interesting. I do a lot of this stuff as like a tutorial format because this isn't a common thing that people do, so just kind of an instructional video in a way. This is one of my favorite parts about doing these is with the silicone, it immediately forms into like, you know, into these like mixing buckets. What ends up happening is when it cures, you just pull it right out. It just comes out. So the cleanup on these is really simple. So this I made some silicone in the other night, and it's already clean. It just comes right out, and there's like no residue left. Oh, there's a little bit of residue. I lied. There's a little residue. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that residue up just a little bit. But yeah, otherwise it just comes out really clean, and you don't have to do very much. So my friend Dave is watching. My friend Dave in Ohio. He's a really good buddy of mine. Pretty fun dude. And I'm going to go visit him in a couple of weeks. So, all right. Let's do some measurement. Sorry, let's no more fooling around. Since we're going to be mixing so much, when you put things into a vacuum chamber, which we're going to do, you have to do that for silicone. Vacuum chamber, all it does is, oops. All right, so I'm just bringing it here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So a vacuum chamber, which is down here on this shelf, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. But you have to degas it. So these chemicals, when they mix together, they produce air bubbles. And if you need to have clean castings, you've got to make sure those air bubbles are gone, or you're going to have like pock marks and weird blemishes on your molds or on your final product. So you got to put it in a vacuum chamber to pull those air bubbles out. When you vacuum something like this, when you put some like substances into a vacuum chamber, they expand. And if I had used this, and brought this up to that 24 mark, like we were showing, right? If we had brought it to this 24 mark, if I put this into the vacuum chamber, there's nowhere for it to go. So it's just going to spill out around the edges. So you got to use a bigger container. So I would normally use this for like a smaller amount, but we're using a larger amount. So we're going to use this bigger one, and we're going to say it still has the same markings. Oh, camera's not going to show it. But it still has those same markings on the side. We got the 1-to-1s. So we're just going to use those. It's going to make it cleaner and easier to use. So we're going to use the big guy, put this one away. And then we'll put it in the vacuum chamber. And I'll show you what the vacuum chamber looks like. Hopefully. I don't know if it's going to stretch. I did a bunch of moving of stuff around to kind of make some room. First things first. Put some gloves on. I'm loving my new studio setup. So I'm going to tell you a little thing besides just doing this, because this part's kind of pretty simple. We're just going to mix half and half. But yesterday, there's a game store in town that is running a special for this month, for the 4th of July kind of thing or whatever, where they were like giving extra trade-in credit. And I've been playing the PS4 for a while. I only have like 2 games on it though, and don't really play it that much. But I also have an Xbox One. I have an Xbox One S. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trade the PS4 in, get the extra 50% credit, and do whatever with it. So I went there and got turn in the games and controllers and all that kind of stuff. And then the dude was like, hey man, you've got like, it's like $300 in trade-in credit, which was ridiculous. I didn't realize it was going to be that much. And then I was like, well, I got my Xbox still, but I have a 4K TV. Maybe I should, you know, go for the Xbox One X, which is like the new super duper powered one. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna just go for the Xbox One X. So sorry, I'm just making sure I'm measuring this. You know, I might have to do this in the smaller bucket and transfer it to this one to mix it, because the markings on this is going to be way more than I need, and it's going to be difficult for me to measure this correctly. I don't need to make 32 ounces, so yeah, we're going to bring that one back. We'll mix it in here, and then we'll pour it into that one. But anyway, so yeah, so I decided to come back home really quick. Came back home real quick, disconnected my Xbox One, traded in. Now I have an Xbox One X, and I freaking love it. It's nice. It definitely looks different. All right, we're gonna take this to the 12-ounce mark. But yeah, that's what I did yesterday. I've been playing Monster Hunter. I was playing it on the PS4. And so I went ahead and bought it on the Xbox for the Xbox One X with my trade-in, because I still had a little extra trade-in credit after buying it. And it looks gorgeous. It's a pretty fun game. Definitely scratches the itch that I have for kind of a grindy game. I don't know if you guys have played it. Has anyone played Monster Hunter? Any of you guys played Monster Hunter before? I like it. The tutorial's a bit annoying, but whatever. Tutorials are always annoying. The tutorial just takes forever for it to finally finish. It's a constant. But I might start streaming that as well. I might start streaming my Monster Hunter play. Because it's fun. Okay. Next, mixing this in. Yeah, I think we're going to have plenty left over on this, but probably really more than I need. But it's better to be safe than sorry. The last thing I want to do is have to try to make 2 batches, and that's just a pain. Something I don't want to deal with right now. All right, so now we got the 2 mixed together, or we have 2 in the same container, so now we're just going to mix it. So I like to do a little pre-mix inside this container, and then I will scrape and scoop. I'll scrape it down and I'll scoop it into the other one, and we'll do a little mix in there, and then we'll put it into the pressure pot, and then we should be all set. So it makes this nice pure blue color. is cool. So when you're mixing silicone or resin or anything else, it's really important that you scrape the sides and get it all mixed up, because this stuff it's very, very sticky. Just like peanut butter. It pretty much is, it's like the consistency of like, I don't know, hot peanut butter. It's very, very thick. It's very sticky. Maybe even like, I don't know, maybe even like honey. Maybe like the consistency of honey. That's probably a better approximation, is it's very much like honey. Okay. Now we pour into this one. And then we'll mix it in there as well. Yeah, see, there's some of the blue. Some of part B is still, didn't get mixed in. It's still stuck to the bottom. So we scrape. Get that in there. Like I said, silicone makes a mess. It's a very messy stuff. Okay. All right, I was gonna put this one down here for now. And I'll stir these guys up. Now I'm going to try to show you guys the actual vacuum chamber process. Since I moved things around, I was able to pull my vacuum chamber up onto part like real close to my desk. So then that way I can set the camera up and you can see how that's done. Now when the vacuum chamber is running, I tend to turn the microphone off because it is a bit loud. It's not as loud as my air compressor, but it is loud. And we're going to be using my air compressor as well. So once we make the molds, once we get everything all mixed together, all clean, we're going to put it in the pressure pot to cure it. And it does cure for about 6 hours. So cure it at pressure. And what that does is the vacuum chamber helps to remove the bubbles, but the pressure pot then takes whatever remaining bubbles might be left and it smashes them. Basically just compresses them down until they just can't go anywhere. So they get like, they might have been like this big before, like it might have been like this, and then we crush them down to like they're almost nothing. And that way you have a much smoother, much smoother. And also you want to, I always pressure cast my resin, and you want to make sure that when your molds are pressure cast at the same pressure as your resin is going to be cast at, because it ensures that your final product will be exactly the same. Okay, now let's get my camera over here. That's the pressure pot, or the vacuum chamber right there in the corner. So what we do is we just take the lid off here, put this inside, and there we go. I'm going to try to get this a little closer so maybe you can see inside it. Problem is that my camera only stretches so far. So you'll kind of be able to see it. But one of the things you'll notice is that you're going to see the silicone rise up, and it's going to come up to near the top there. We're going to turn the microphone off now. Okay, well, I was trying to show it to you guys, but really just didn't quite get close enough. But yeah, the silicone kind of rises to the top there because all of that, all those air bubbles are expanding as you release the pressure on them. The ambient pressure crushes them down anyway. So as you put them into the vacuum chamber, they expand like a balloon. And then after a certain amount of pressure, they just pop. And it releases all of that gas. And that's what the vacuum chamber does. So then when we go to actually cast with it, those bubbles are going to be gone. Jay Hall says it's really neat. Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. It's like cool little physics. So, little physics lesson with Atari tonight or today. So, it's pretty cool. And then we'll put it in the pressure chamber, which is over here in this corner. And that takes, just a couple seconds or whatever. Once we get this poured, we'll do that. And the pouring just doesn't take very long, a few minutes. We do have to do one thing though when you're pouring. When you're making keycaps, on the end of the key itself, you've got the little, where the stem goes here, right? And it's a little cross shape, which that's kind of hard to see. Not this one. You can see the little cross shape there. And so what I do is I made a special tool with a toothpick, a popsicle stick, and I took an X-Acto knife and I filed it down till it was really, really thin and just the right size to fit inside that cross shape there. Because what you do is when you're pouring the silicone, it's not always going to get exactly into those grooves, and there'll be air bubbles trapped in there, and then you're going to have a poor casting. So I come in there with this, and I just kind of scoop it in there, move this around, and that all that does is it helps to release the air bubbles that are in there, and you get a better casting. So we're going to do that too. But we're just kind of waiting for this vacuum chamber to finish doing its thing. There's still bubbles that are kind of coming to the top and breaking. So that's going to be a few minutes before that's all set. So it just takes, I usually give it about 3 minutes. The pot life, so there's a thing called a pot life, and it has nothing to do with pot. But, so Superman to hippie might be getting excited for a second, but pot life is not about living a life of pot. So pot life is basically the amount of time that you're able to manipulate a substance. So with silicone or resin, it'll often have a pot. It'll be rated as specific pot life. And what that pot life will do is the amount of time that you have to do the things that you need to do with that particular substance. So this one has a pot life of, I believe, 45 minutes, which means it takes about 45 minutes for it to start to harden. And once it gets to that hardening phase, it hardens exponentially. Even though silicone is pretty soft, it still has a hardness that comes to it. And resin's the same way. Resin's usually faster though. You can get slower moving resins, but for the most part, your resins are pretty fast. My resins I think are like 20 minutes tops. So you don't have a lot of time to work with it. Because even before it gets to that mark, it's still going to start to harden kind of early. And if the temperature is warm inside the studio, which it is warm in my studio, the resins set much faster. So I usually estimate I got about 10 minutes to do the castings when I do resin casting. So you got to be quick. And when you're doing mass production, that's very difficult to do because you don't have, you're trying to like make interesting effects or you're trying to do like cool things with it. You don't always have that much time. So it can be a little stressful, especially like I said, if you're doing mass production and you're doing like several molds, you don't have enough time to do it. So a lot of times what I end up doing is I will kind of do half of them, put them into the pressure pot, or do half of them, like get them to the point where I think that they should be fine, and then do the other half really quickly, get them in. So I do the cool effects first, and then do the stuff that's not going to have anything cool going on. The other thing that I might end up doing is I might just end up buying another pressure pot. I already have the what's it called? The compressor. So I already have the compressor, but the pressure pot itself is very expensive. I believe mine was $300. You can get cheaper ones, And so I might just end up just getting a cheaper one and just using that as my mass production assembly line once I start selling. Which I will start selling very soon, guys. I know Mange HD. Awesome dude, HJG, welcome to the stream. How's it going? He is on Mixer, so I got a couple people watching on Mixer right now. I believe overall I have 11 viewers. We got 1 person on Mixer, 3 on Twitch, 7 on YouTube. And you guys, as usual, I really appreciate you being on, taking your time out from your weekend to hang out on my stream. I know it's a Sunday. Typically don't get a lot of viewers on Sunday, but hey, I got 11 viewers. It's fine with me. Okay, we're just about ready to pull this out of the vacuum chamber here. The bubbles are just now really getting a good break on it. I'm going to do one more run again real quick. Yeah, I think it's just about ready. Jonathan Chamberlain says, been super informative, definitely appreciate it. Yeah, awesome dude. I am making, so this is a silicone mold. Change the camera setup here. So this is a silicone mold to make keycaps. These go on, so you can replace your keys and your keyboard. And this is what we're making. This is a keycap that I sculpted. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. Once I get resin and stuff in it. Why is this camera, I swear, constantly having issues with it? What is it doing? Maybe that's better. Trying to fix the white balance on this because this camera has some issues. It keeps going back to like these stock settings that I did not set. It decided to set them himself, so it's kind of annoying. Yeah, this one, this is like this bright orange, but for some reason it just can't seem to wow, what is it? I don't know what it's doing now. It is, this camera is really having a rough day today. We'll put it back to where it was. But yeah, this is like this, it's kind of a fiery orange color. If I get that out of the shot, maybe it'll... No? Okay. Whatever, camera. So maybe now it'll try... Huh. I don't know what's going on with it. But here's a different one. And this one's kind of one of my more favorite ones. These purple ones I really like. It's like a purple and white. Okay, well, this one's like a fiery orange. Maybe if this camera will do better. Sometimes the different cameras, man, it just cannot view that orange. It really just has a hard time with it. Is this one having a better time with it? Nope. Oh well. Okay, well, the silicone's ready. So now we just let the air back into the chamber. And then we'll pull that out and we'll pour it. Okay. Awesome dude HJG, thanks for the host and the follow. I'm going to go ahead and post that link back in here. Awesome dude, I'm not sure if you knew about this, but I am doing a giveaway of a keyboard. in conjunction with my friend Carly Toboggan, who is a streamer on Mixer. She streams Fortnite, and I made this keyboard. So if you want to follow that link, you can get a look of what that the giveaway is. And you can also get a look here at what... Awesome, dude. All right, I'll call you that. There's the Imager album, if you want to take a look at the Imager album to see what it looks like. Okay. Well, the silicone is out. So there we go. Put some gloves back on. We'll pour this, and then put it in the pressure pot, and then we'll see what we got, what time we got, and what we want to do next. All right. So when you're pouring silicone, you typically want to start at your in one corner at your lowest point and let the silicone rise to it. So this silicone mold's a little bit angled, so we're going to pour it here, and we're going to let the rest of it, like, let it fill. Now, I usually will let it move a little bit around because otherwise it does take a while. So we are going to we'll just move this a little closer so you can see what it looks like here. And even this is kind of probably a little fast in terms of what you want to do. But sometimes the silicone doesn't quite cooperate. So you got to make sure when you pour it slowly like this, the silicone will find its way into most of the little holes and stuff that it needs to occupy, but it's still going to trap some air in there. And so you want to pour this slowly, and then I'll go back through with that popsicle stick. So I'll go back through with that popsicle stick, and I'll try to work out as many bubbles as I possibly can. And this part's kind of slow, a little bit boring, I guess, but this is how you make resin casting molds. Now, I do like to move to a different corner usually when I'm doing these molds because of the fact that I think the sprues, which are those little white things sticking out, I think the sprues kind of hinder the silicone from moving. And so I kind of try to move to other parts and just kind of fill from a different corner to help spread it out. So I'm going to do a little bit here. Just kind of move to maybe the middle here. Just to help it spread out a little bit better. And we're going to take the silicone up to almost the top of those sprues. Not quite the top, but very, very close. Okay, and that is good for that one. We don't want to go too much higher. Some of these sprues will get a little buried, but when the time comes for me to do the finishing part of it, like when I pull the actual mold out of the pressure pot, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to like cut where some of them got buried, and that'll be fine. Yeah, I kind of wish that this hadn't got an angle like that, but it's just because of the way that my garage is like kind of at an angle too, and then you put it in the pressure pot. The pressure pot has this weird dip that's in it. It's kind of inside, has a little groove like this, and it can't quite really get into it. Awesome Dude says that keyboard looks really cool. Thanks. Yeah, enter to win, man. Enter to win. It's pretty easy to enter. You just follow my YouTube. You can get 2 entries. You follow Carly on Twitter. That gets you 2 entries. Following her on Mixer, I believe, gets you an entry. So, it was like I was saying earlier on the channel, like, Carly's really cool, guys. She's a lot of fun. Very entertaining to watch. I don't even play Fortnite, and I like watching her play because I just find her entertaining, and her mods are really fun. I'm actually a mod on her channel as well, but yeah, her mods are a lot of fun too, and she plays with viewers. That's, I guess, you know, that's a pretty big thing when it comes to like video games and stuff. She actually plays their viewers quite a bit. So a lot of people really like that about her, is that she definitely plays with people that watch her. So, anyway, she's my friend, and she's super cool, so check her out. So what we're doing right now is we're going in here and we're releasing the air bubbles that are trapped in the sprue, or in the stems of those keycaps. We're just getting in there, just removing the air bubbles as best we can. You can kind of see some of the air bubbles coming to the top and popping, probably on the stream there. Get rid of them air bubbles, boy! Yeah, you gotta get rid of it. Gotta clean them out. But it's coming up. It's working pretty well. So I've been doing this for about a year now. Getting pretty good at making these things. I'll show you guys some of my product here. I'll be selling those keycaps here very soon. And I know Mange on YouTube, he's going to say soon TM. Because I've been saying that for months now. But it just, you know, it takes time. It's hard to just get up and go with a lot of these things. And I'm a perfectionist. I wanted to make sure if I'm going to sell something that it's going to be worth buying. So I don't want to just throw it out there. Awesome Dude, I make so I do a lot of keyboards, mechanical keyboards. That's kind of like my thing. But I also make keycaps for mechanical keyboards, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. Those are keycaps. But I make non-sculpted keycaps so they don't look like tentacles and stuff. But I make just regular old keyboard keycaps as well. And that's what I'm going to show you here in about 2 seconds. Yeah, so you can kind of get, you got some air bubbles coming to the top here. There's one over here. We're going to get that guy. You just kind of go through and make sure they pop. But yeah, it's good. It's looking good. All right, so let's get this into the pressure pot here. All right, and now we'll pour the second one. This one's going to be a little bit easier. I don't have to worry about cleaning out stems. So we're just going to do a straight pour. Hopefully I made enough silicone to fill this mold. I'm a little worried about that. But it looks like we made just enough. It might be a little thin, but I think I made enough. Yes, I did. I made just enough. That is awesome. Perfect. Might have a little bit of excess left over, but not much. Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad I decided to go with making more of it, because that is very, very close to being... Okay. So this one we don't have to worry about air bubbles. That's not as much of a concern. Okay, now we're going to put the turn on the pressure pot, and we're going to put that stuff. We're going to put the whole thing under pressure. Then it has to sit at pressure for 6 hours. So I'm going to turn off the microphone because the compressor is very, very loud. So microphone's going off, and it should take me about a minute to do the pressure. So I'll be back in 1 minute. Also, okay, you guys know I'm all about safety. Earplugs. Earplugs. Wear earplugs when you're doing this. That's very important. Gotta wear earplugs, guys. Okay. There we go. So I take my pressure pot to about 50 psi. That's usually what I go with. Doesn't have to be a ton. Doesn't have to be any higher than that, really. You can go higher. I mean, I know people who pressure cast at like 60 and 90 psi. I think that may be a little excessive. 50, I think, has produced very good results for me. So I think anything higher than that is probably just overkill. But I guess it depends on kind of like how thorough you are in your process as well. My process is pretty thorough in terms of using the vacuum chamber and everything, but if you don't have a vacuum chamber, you might want to bring your PSI higher because you didn't remove the bubbles to begin with, the first step. So it might be good to do that. I left the mic on? When? Oh, joking. I did leave the mic on one time. That was not cool. It was very, very loud. Okay, there we go. So now we are all set. Pressure stuff is sitting in there. The desk is nice and clean. Now what do we do? So Mange is saying, earlier said he was going to want to watch for switch lubing. So are we going to switch lube or are we not going to switch lube? I don't know. So for those of you who are new to my channel, switch lubing, what that means is we open up the keyboard switches themselves and we apply a little bit of lubrication to the inside. And actually, Awesome Dude is saying Q&A. Do we want to do a Q&A? Sure. Let's do a Q&A. What do you got questions about? Ask me your questions. We can also talk about these. These are keyboard keycaps, of which I have a plethora. I can show you guys these. Switch cams. What cam do you want me to switch to? Well, if I'm going to show you these, I got to keep my action cam going. This is a better camera for doing that with. So these are my B stock. These are keycaps that I've made, but these are my B stock keycaps. These aren't the best quality ones I've made, but they're, you know, I don't know, decent. Got quite a few. Quite a few of them. I think they look nice. Let's change this real quick. Let's do a little. Let's move this focus in a little bit. You can kind of see what these look like. So some of these, like this one here, this is actually like a day glow pink. The camera doesn't quite catch it, but it's like a bright neon pink. It might catch this one a little bit. The camera has a hard time with bright colors. But yeah, these are, oh hey, look, there's some tentacle ones. There's a green one. Yeah, but see, this one's B stock because it has these little air bubble holes here. So these are B stock. I don't want to sell these ones. Same with this one. It's got some air bubble holes, but overall it looks pretty cool. I think this one turned out cool looking, but yeah, can't sell it. Trying to find some of my more interesting looking ones. These ones turned out really good. Really like the look of these ones. Super nice. Yeah, on a backlit keyboard, they would definitely look cool. I can actually show you on this one. We can light one up real quick. let's put one on here so you can see what it looks like. Put on, we'll do one of these guys. It's gonna be hard for it to camera to capture it, but we can turn off some of these lights. It kind of gets a good view what it looks like. Not quite, but a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see. These are some other ones I've made. Yeah, it's a fun little stuff. They look cool. They look much better in person. The camera just really doesn't capture them very well. But these are my B stock. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these yet. I haven't decided. Some of them are just barely B stock. I mean, I guess I could still sell them. Like this one, actually, this one's marked as B stock, but I wouldn't consider this B stock. That's A stock. Yeah. I might do these as a giveaway. I haven't decided yet. So, what do we do? I don't really have any plans for the rest of the day. We have been streaming for about an hour and a half. This is actually a pretty simple, pretty easy day for streaming. Don't have a lot to do. Didn't really have a lot planned. Okay, let's do. I know Mange is saying, let's get to this lube. Let's get to that. Now I gotta find a board that I want to lubricate. I've already done, so a couple of my boards, there's only a few. This one is one of the only ones that actually still needs to be lubricated. This is a 78 gram Zelios board. So this one, I mean, it doesn't really need to be lubricated. But I could. I was already thinking about actually swapping this board out, or sorry, the switches on this, and replacing them with a different switch type. But my desoldering iron is kind of not the best, and I should really replace it. Because this has in-switch LEDs in it, so if I were to do a switch swap on this, basically just be taking it apart and putting it back together again, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done on this. Because I have to put the LEDs back in and everything, and decide what I'm going to do. Because I like the magenta LEDs on this board, so I'd want to put it back in. What does Mange say? What? Yes, it does, don't lie. What does? It doesn't need it. Yeah, Mange is saying it definitely needs it. Yeah, so if I do that though, because I mean if I change these switches out, it'd be kind of pointless for me to do that, lube them, and then just end up switching them out. So I'm not really sure that's what I want to do. Because I do have to put, I had to desolder, put the switches in. I like these 78 gram ones, but I really prefer, my favorite switch is the 67 gram Zelios switch, and I didn't have any at the time that I built this board because I really wanted to get it done, and no one had them in stock. And then like 2 weeks after I built it, they came in stock. And so now I'm like at this weird kind of, well, now that I have them, should I do it? So desoldering iron, pulling the desoldering iron out and just desoldering all those switches, it's a lot of work. The other option would be to pull them out and just do spring swap on them. But again, that's a lot of work too. And it would be, I mean, like hours and hours and hours of work. So I'm not really sure if that's what I really want to do because of the fact that, you know, I do have to do other stuff today besides doing streaming. So the thing is with switch lubing is it is time consuming. I think the last time I did a switch lubing, it took me about 2 hours or so to get in there, get all the tops off, and then lube them all, put it back together again. And if I'm thinking about changing these switches out in general, it's kind of pointless. New springs and lube the springs, Mange is saying. I mean, I could do that, or I could not. Wow, this board has got a lot of dirt and dust in it. Oh, this really needs a lot of cleaning. It's very dusty in here. I really should just take this, use a different board in this room because it does get very dusty in here from all the types of work that I do in here. So it just gets a lot of stuff. You know what? Maybe not today, because I am going to switch these out. So maybe what I'll do is instead of doing a switch lube on this today, I will switch these switches out with the 67 gram Zelios, which are right here. So I got 67 grams Zelios that I have here, and then I will do I will lube these ones. So I'll lube these when I put them into this board because I'm going to have to put LEDs in these as well, and I think I'm going to do SIP sockets. So SIP sockets plus these plus lubing and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do that as this very special stream. So I'll go ahead and remove these in the next couple of days. Because SIP sockets and everything, it's going to make everything way easier. Yeah, Mange, I'm going to lube these ones. Because if I remove these, if I lube these and then remove them, it's just a waste of time. But since I'm definitely putting these switches in this board, I might as well just lube these and do all of that stuff instead. So the thing is with these, the in-switch LEDs, so in-switch LED means that, you know, the LED itself is actually inside the switch housing, as opposed to doing something like SIP sockets where I would put the SIP sockets inside the switch here and then the LED sits on top. The benefit of that, of course, is that I can swap them out at any time. It doesn't take very much time to change it. So that's like, those are, you know, it's a way smarter way of doing things, which it's also very time consuming. But if I'm opening it up to lube the switches, I might as well. Why not? Okay. So yeah, rather than doing that then, maybe in a couple of days I will desolder the switches from this board then, because that does take time, and my desoldering iron is a total piece of junk right now. I just need to buy a new one, I think. What time we got? It's about 12:30 Pacific time. 1 second here. I've got a couple messages I missed apparently. Okay. So it would tell you exactly how you lube your mine. Springs, bottom hole, and housing. Don't lube the stem, because that makes it easier for them to become inconsistent, as we do for tactiles. So what I did, Mange, was I didn't lube the slider. I didn't lube the stem at all, but what I did lube was the housing, inside part of the housing, like where the slider rubs up against. So I didn't lube the springs though because I don't know, it didn't really seem like it was gonna help that much, and I didn't really know how to do it without like kind of messing shit up. I know you were talking about like putting it in there and twisting the spring, but I didn't really know how to do that. So maybe we'll do that. Let's see. What I could do it on the 4th, of July. We won't get a lot of viewers, but I could do it on the 4th of July. The next couple of days are going to be kind of busy, so I wouldn't have time until maybe the 4th of July. But I kind of want to try to desolder these switches today anyway, just so it's prepped. Let's do that. All right, let's try. We'll try to do it. We'll try to use my shitty desoldering iron to remove those switches. I think it might need to be cleaned out. Okay, so we're going to desolder switches. That's what we're going to do. The other switches I want to do, the other option was these guys. These are another switch that I really love. These are novel keys. These are Box Royal. These have like a very, very tactile feel to them. I really like these switches quite a bit. They feel really cool. But I already have a board that uses these, so I'm just kind of holding on to those for another board maybe. And you can't lube these ones. It doesn't really make any difference when you lube them. I've got so many switch types, guys. So Mange, the people have already tried to lube the Box Royals, but it doesn't make any difference to them apparently. It doesn't change anything. They're kind of the same. They doesn't really make that much of a difference on them. So I figured, why even bother with it? Plus, I'm going to be getting the Hako Royal switch pretty soon, maybe in a week or so. So I might save that for that switch. All right, awesome, dude. Thanks for stopping by. So let's go ahead and get these keys off of here. And Mange, I should have cherry keycaps here in about a month. Laser should be shipping very, very soon. And then I'll have cherry keycaps, and you can stop bugging me about doing cherry keycap or cherry molds. So I'll finally have them. And I might swap these keycaps out as well. Use a different key set. Usually I keep these, I'm usually keeping these guys on there, but I kind of want to try something else. I should be getting DSA Drifter here soon too. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. There's that. So now we gotta remove the bottom. And I need my screwdriver. gotta find a place to put these. I don't get lost. Do I have any cherry switches at all? I do. Yeah, I do. Actually, I have some cherry browns and I have some cherry blues. But if you're gonna ask me to try putting zeal stems, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. I knew that's what you were gonna ask. The thing is, the cherry, man, I don't like that they're opaque. I like the clear housings because I do like my. I do like the switches to glow when I put the LEDs in them, and if they're a black housing, they don't glow at all. And if I do in-switch LEDs, it doesn't help. Period. It actually makes it look very dull. If cherry made clear housings, I might be convinced, but they do not. Or at least I haven't seen any. So, wah. Man, Boo Boo gets her hair everywhere. The cat just sheds like crazy. There's like so much Boo Boo fur. Okay. There's the board. Oh, before we start all this, I'm going to use the bathroom. So, BRB. All right, and I'm back. Okay, let's get this going. Let me get a bag to put these switches in real quick, and then we will start. Or not switches, we'll put the bag to put the keycaps in, and then we'll put the switches in a different bag. So Mange is saying, what about the bottom housing? Yeah, that That might work. I don't know how the housing would be more tactile. Just like the leaf? You talking about the leaf? Like the actual, like, the metal leaf that goes inside that's more tactile? I don't know. Sounds like voodoo to me. Plus, it's a lot of work, man. It's making Franken switches. Yeah, see, these are the browns I've got. I've got like a whole bag of cherry browns. The leaf is stiffer. Yeah, see, like, I mean, I could open these up and try doing that. But I don't know. So you think, what, put like cherry bottom housing and Zelios top housing? I don't know, man. That sounds like voodoo to me. I don't know, man. Don't know if I trust you. I mean, I do. I do trust you. But I don't really know if it's going to make that much of a difference for me. Have you tried it? Have you put a 67-gram switch into a cherry housing? Okay. So now we are going to desolder some switches. For those of you who have watched my stream, you know that desoldering is like one of my absolute least favorite things of all time, but we're gonna do it anyway. And hopefully it actually works. So this desoldering iron always takes forever to heat up. Gotta give it about 10 minutes or so. Trying to get this into a position that's a little better for viewing. Yes, you have, and you say it's nice. But see, I don't know if I trust you, because you're just trying to get me to do it. You're just trying to get me to do it so you can try to be right. I think that's what you're doing. No, I mean, it might be okay. But I like the smoothness. I think the smoothness of the, I think, what is it? Zelios housings are made out of, are they made out of vinyl, I think? I think they're made out of vinyl. Oh, so J Hall, you're moving from, J Hall is moving from a 2-unit space to 1 unit. Yeah, I actually usually, on most of my Prionics, I have the 2-unit space, but I like the 1-unit space, the, you know, like the 2-unit space, whatever. I like the feel that it has, and the fact that you can do, oh, polycarbonate, okay, you're right. I like the aesthetics of it, because you can use a 2-unit space bar, and some of the like novelty kits on some of the keyboard keycap sets come with a really cool 2-unit space bar. So this thing is, like I said, takes forever to heat up. Gotta put some water in my, gotta water the spring, or sorry, water the sponge for my desoldering stuff. And I gotta drink some water. Bean Larden 911. How's it going, man? Am I Mark Kipler? No, I am not. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who that is. Is that a person? Or not a person, but is it like a famous person? because I am definitely not famous. Yeah, I'm already thinking this might not work. I'm already thinking this is not working. This desoldering iron, I mean, it does need a minute or so to warm up, but it's got some issues with it. I've been wanting to get the Hakko desoldering iron, not the one that Pete has, because Pete's got the one that Pete's got the one that is like has the vacuum built into it, which is really cool. But this one does not. The Hakko one that I was looking at is like $300. Well, we'll give that a few more minutes to heat up. But yeah, this is like... I really wish I had those 67 gram Zelios when this came in. Man, it scared the crap out of me. It was like it was going to fall over. And it doesn't quite fit in any of the little housing spots. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work, guys. I think this thing just might be toast. It's not even. It's like the vacuum or the suction on it is like pretty well gone now. We'll try. I'll try to get it to. I don't know, folks. I don't think this is gonna work. It is just not. Yeah, it's not pulling all the solder out. Not even trying. Yep, I think this thing's toast. Damn. Well, that's a bummer. We'll get another one. Or we'll get that Hakko one. The Hakko one is way nicer, obviously. They make nice stuff. So maybe I'll just suck it up and do it. Mange, so rude. No, it's definitely like this is like a $10 desoldering iron. It's not very good, and I've done quite a few desoldering projects on it already, and I've cleaned this part, but cleaning this part of it is nearly impossible. And so what ends up happening is like a bunch of the solder gets in here, and I can kind of get it out, but I don't really, there's no way to pull the element out to really get in there and clean it, and so it just doesn't have any suction. And it heats up, but it doesn't heat up quite enough. So it needs just a little more heat in order to really do good desoldering. So can't quite do that. Okay, well, I'll just put this as a side project for later. Maybe I'll just order that. Maybe I'll just order that one later and then go with that when the time comes. In the meantime, I'm going to put this board in here. So this is my box navy clicky board. So let's put some switches on, or put some keycaps on this guy, and we'll leave that in here as the board. So let's finish up the stream by doing this, and then I'm gonna go get some lunch. So what keycaps should I put on it? We got a couple sets to choose from here. I'm actually kind of feeling like using my, I feel like using these ones. I haven't put those on any boards in a while. These are my Devlin K series. These are really fun. They're like a mixture of like XDA and it's like in between XDA and I would say like XDA and SA row 3 is kind of how I feel they feel like. Yeah, Devlin. I really like Devlin. They're like, I mean, look how thick those are. Look at the thick. I actually want to do some molds of these, and I probably will soon, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Oops, it's a 6, not a 9. Find all the legends on here. Yeah, they're really nice keys. Very thick, very high quality. Definitely worth a look. Problem is they're hard to get a hold of. They only make a couple. They only make a couple sets, you know, per year. I mean, I should say they only run group buys a couple times per year. So you have to kind of get them when they're I've only seen them, you know, go up on a group buy twice so far. This particular set only twice. So I was pretty happy when I picked them up. I want to see what they're like with these clickies. I'm like losing track of I like keep feeling like I like see a key and I'm like, oh, I need that one. Nope, I forget where it went. Why am I not seeing the R key? There it is. Oh, yeah, I'm just starting to realize I am very hungry. They made a Ski Data color set? Really? Oh, probably not in this profile. They have another profile that they do. The K series is the really thick, like, SA type or SA like profile that they do. There's the Q series as well, I think. I don't know what that one is though. I've never tried getting it. I always forget the layout. CXCV BNM. B. There we go. Okay. 6. Trying to remember what I put where on this board because it's been a while since I've used it. Because I need backspace. Man, what did I do? How did I do this before? I think these went here. And then I put function for my Windows key. I think this is what I did. Hold. I think that's how I did it. There we go. J Hall, do I use the same layout on your boards, or are they all different? I only use one board pretty much. I only use Prionics. So yeah, I use the same layout for every board. Because I really like Prionics. And so I just keep the same layout for every board just to make it easier on my life. But yeah, there we go. Ooh, oops. Yeah, in QMK. Yep. I have my own little board, my own little like build or whatever in QMK that I made. I just transport it between all of them. Oh, it feels great. Very, very clicky. And I really like these keycaps. Alright, well guys, that'll be it for today. I need to go get some lunch, and then I'm having a friend come over in a little while. So, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, make sure you check out the giveaway. If you haven't already, apply for the giveaway. And keep your eyes peeled on my channel, because I'm going to be doing another giveaway soon. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and buy that desoldering gun, and then Wednesday, hopefully, it'll get here maybe soon. I doubt it's going to get here by Wednesday, but we'll try. And if it gets here by Wednesday, then we'll go ahead and do some desoldering, and we'll change out we'll do the lubing and make this one like my Cadillac board. We'll call it Cadillac board, because this is my nicest board out of all the ones I have. This is definitely the nicest one, so I should treat it the best. But alright, you guys, have a great day. Enjoy Canada Day if you're from Canada. If you're not from Canada, then keep it real, and we'll have a good 4th of July holiday. Play safe, and have a good one.